College football news here, looking at the week 2 top 25 AP poll, and you can see Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State are in the same spots, just different order. Alabama remains number 1. Georgia moves up over top of Ohio State, as Ohio State struggled somewhat with Notre Dame. Their defense played good, but their offense was lackluster. They did get some big plays, but it was a much benign Ohio State game. They just had to drag it out and fight it out, but they did come out with a win, and that's what matters the most. And they didn't give up any points in the second half, and I believe 77 total yards of offense they only gave up in the second half. Alabama obviously cruised against Utah State.
And he's knocked out of bounds. We were at practice last week. Second and goal. Quick hitter to the slant and to the end zone. Touchdown, Trace.
And Georgia had a very dominating win against an overranked, at least in my mind, at least in college football news' mind, Oregon was a little bit overrated.
So far, in 9 pass attempts, first and goal from the 9. They flip it to Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey scores the first touchdown.
And they got blown out by the defending national champions, the Georgia Bulldogs, right? Michigan jumps up 4 spots from number 8 to number 4 after a dominating win over a inferior team.
Wolverines in a trips right. Little bubble screen complete to Roman Wilson. Got a great block, sprung loose. Tiptoe. Wilson still on his feet. Magic from Michigan, touchdown.
In Colorado State, and I think they moved up a lot, mostly because Clemson struggled, Texas A&M didn't look very good, and obviously Notre Dame lost. And then you can see Oklahoma made a big move up, and I don't think Oklahoma's going to be there in the end, right? I think obviously it's going to be a battle between Alabama and Georgia in the SEC, between Ohio State and Michigan to win the Big Ten championship. Clemson, even though they blew out Georgia Tech at the end, they didn't look very good. That offense doesn't look right.
DJ on 3rd and 4, making something out of nothing.
Quarterback run. Uyunglele breaks a tackle at the 5, into the end. Shipley, and he's in for the.
They probably will still win the ACC, considering there's not very many good teams there, unless Miami can finally show up, or Florida State for the first time in a decade and have a good season. Texas A&M did what they needed to do in a weird game that had about a 3-hour rain delay with thunderstorms, so you can't really take too much what they did, even though they didn't look very good at times. When you have a 3-hour weather delay, that's to be expected in the SEC. Can they contend for an SEC championship? Yes. Do I think they're going to? Probably not, but that's a team that we got to watch out for as the college football scene moves on. Oklahoma, with their new head coach, blew out an inferior team, and I think Oklahoma's still going to run into that problem sometime throughout this year, where the defense just doesn't hold up, as I believe they are going to be a fairly good offensive team, but their defense has always been something to be desired, and I still don't think that's changed this year with the new coach. Notre Dame, I think they're a 9-3 football team, maybe an 8-4. I see them taking a step back with a new coach, new system, and all that, and I don't think their offense is going to be there this year. They didn't really do too much against Ohio State. They had a couple of big plays, but I don't think they're going to be there in the end. I think they'll have an okay season, a good season for a first-year head coach, Marcus Freeman, if he goes 9-3. But I think they're going to take a step back, and I think they finish 18th or 19th in the country this year, just like I think Oklahoma finishes 14th or 15th in the country. And as we move along to Baylor, they absolutely will not be in the top 10 at the end of the season. I might get some Baylor fans mad here. I just don't think Baylor, they don't have a very good defense. The Big 12 isn't known for defense, and I think they'll put some points up, but I think they're going to lose 2 football games this year, and I think they're going to go 10-2. I guess that could technically still keep them in the top 10, but I think Baylor goes 10-2 this year. USC is my dark horse for the playoff. If I'm looking at that Pac-12 schedule and their schedule, they have Notre Dame at the end of the season, I believe, at home. But that schedule, because it's the Pac-12 and their new head coach coming in from Oklahoma, I think they're going to win the Pac-12 championship. And I think they're going to be, if they can somehow go undefeated,
Receiver. And the speed. And the finish all the way down inside the 15 for Washington. Furthest out. Williams pulls it back, and there's Addison, and there's the first U.S.
They're going to find themselves in the college football playoff this year. That's my dark horse college football playoff team, right? I think they have a very good chance this year of making it with that new head coach. And they're going to have a high-powered offense. I believe they had 11 transfers. Caleb Williams came over from Oklahoma. And I think that's a team out in the Pac-12 that they're going to run the table this year in the Pac-12 or only have one loss. And I think they're going to win the Pac-12 championship. College Football News is calling that after week 1. I think that's my dark horse to make the playoff from a team that's not in. They've never made the college football playoff. And I think that would be a team that sneaks up on people this year. And actually with a first-year head coach goes 11-1 or 12-0 out of a weak Pac-12, right? Oklahoma State, I think they're going to be 10-2 or 9-3. I'm going to go with 9-3 this year. Florida, I think they're going to finish 9-3. Utah, they played a decent game at Florida, but they let that game slip away. I think Florida's going to go 9-3 or 8-4, right? We'll give them the benefit of the doubt at 9-3 right now without breaking out their schedule. Michigan State Spartans, I think they, in my preseason prediction, I had them going 9-3.
First down.
Use the offensive line.
First completion for Thorne. Play action on second and short. Dump off passes there. Reed with it. Jaden Reed has a first down.
On third down.
Fake it to Broussard. Thorne with time. Pass is caught. That's a first down and a lot more. There he goes to the end zone.
And I think that's perfectly slotted for where they're going to finish this year. Miami beat up on an inferior Division II school, I believe. And I'm suspect of Miami until I'm proven otherwise by watching them. Arkansas, I think Arkansas is going to have a good season. I think they're going to go 9-3, which would be a very, very good season for Arkansas, right? I think they'll finish in the top 20 this year, but I think they're going to run into a few big-time teams that they just can't match up with, mainly Alabama, right? Georgia. I don't think they're going to be able to beat teams like that. Even Texas A&M, I don't think they're going to be able to beat a team like that yet. With their third-year head coach, I think they're another season away from really making a big run. Pittsburgh, I think, is going to fall out of the top 25 before too long. I don't really have a high hopes for Pittsburgh. Then we run out the bottom 18th, 19th, and 20th. We have North Carolina State, looked awful and barely scraped out a win over the weekend. And I don't think they're a very good football team. Wisconsin's going to go 8-4 with that boring offense where they just hand the ball off and then they try to use a decent defense and a running game to win. I think they're going to go 8-4. I think they're going to have another down season for Wisconsin standards. They're going to challenge for the Big Ten West, but I think they come up just short in the Big Ten West this year. Kentucky, BYU, Ole Miss, Wake Forest, and Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's that good. Wake Forest, I think, might go 8-4 again this year. Ole Miss, they always seem to let me down, Ole Miss, but I got them going 8-4 this year. Then 8-4 to 9-3. But I think my college football teams that I'm watching that'll make the playoff this year, I think Georgia makes the playoff again, right? And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Alabama. I think both of those two teams, again, will only have one loss, and it's going to be to each other unless something unforeseen happens. But I think those two teams both make the playoffs. And then I think the other playoff spot number 3, comes down to Ohio State and Michigan at the end of the season, as I have Ohio State and Michigan going 11-1 and 10-1 going in 10-0 or 10-1 going into that game in Columbus, and I think they both finish 11-1, and I think Michigan's going to go back-to-back in the Big Ten championship race with J.J. McCarthy as the starting quarterback. I don't think Clemson makes the playoff, right? I think it's going to be Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, and USC that are going to make the college football playoff this year. I think USC is going to make it just based on their schedule. Their schedule isn't very good, and if you get a 12-0 Pac-12 champion, they're going to put USC with that new head coach in the college football playoff. This is just a week 1 or week 2 rundown of the new AP Top 25. Let me know if you think teams are overrated, underrated. Just off the bat, if I'm looking at teams that are overrated, I think Clemson's overrated. I think Oklahoma's overrated. I think Notre Dame's still overrated. I think Ballard's overrated, right? I think those 4 teams in the top 10 are very overrated right now. More so when I look at just the performance of Clemson, they're up there just based off their name recognition and what they've done the last 10 years, which they deserve to be because they've accomplished a lot. But I believe they're overrated right now, and I think they're going to fall out of the top 10 by the end of the season. I think Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and USC all remain in the top 25 at the end of the season. I think Texas A&M finishes number 10 to number 12. They always seem to disappoint even with that big-time recruiting class. But that's just my initial thoughts on my initial look at the top 25 AP college football poll. Stick with college football news. Comment down below. Hit that like, subscribe button, bell notification to get all the breaking highlights of your favorite football teams throughout this exciting college football season on our way to the college football playoff and national champion. I say this with great love to each and every one of you. Comment down below who you think the most over or underrated team is. If you think any of these teams not ranked in the top 25 are heavily underrated, or any of these teams outside the top 15 that are underrated or overrated, let me know in the comment section. Peace and love. Stick around for more updates.